Do you know who you are outside of the labels, the identities that have been imposed on you? Yes, you heard me. Imposed on you. Let me ask you some questions. Have you ever felt trapped by what people think about you? Like you're carrying around a persona that doesn't fit you or never fit you, and you don't know how to let that go? Let's talk about that. Most of us are living inside an identity or labels that we didn't even choose. And those labels, they shape everything, how we see ourselves, what we believe is possible, and even how we show up in relationships, career, and life. But what if those labels aren't real? What if they were given to you, but they do not define you, or they were never you? Today, we're going to dive deep into how to break free from labels or identities that no longer fit so that you can finally step into the person you were meant to be, your true self. But before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button because this is the space where we do the deep work so that we can break free, grow, and thrive. So here's the problem. We normally stay stuck in labels or false identities because they've been with us since childhood. What are the first words people use to describe you? And since when have they been describing you that way? You could possibly be the responsible one, or you're the quiet one, or you're always the funny one. You're too sensitive. And here's what happens. We start believing the labels. We don't question them. We internalize them. We don't ask if they're true. We just start living inside of them. And that's a problem because those labels may have never been you, or if they were, you may have outgrown them. And that may be holding you back from being who you truly were meant to be. When you hold on to a label or an identity that no longer fits or never fit, you feel stuck. Like you're living a life that isn't yours, like you don't fit in, like you don't belong. And that's what we want to change. Now that we understand some of these labels, let's dive into a little bit of psychology. Your brain craves identity. From a psychological perspective, labels give us a sense of stability and belonging. When you hear something about yourself enough times, whether it's from family, teachers, or society, your brain says, okay, this is who I am. Then you start to make choices that match that label or identity. So if you were labeled the quiet one, you might be holding yourself back from speaking up. If you were labeled the caretaker, maybe you never even tried to challenge that belief. The good news is, just like our brain can absorb those beliefs and think them to be true, our brain is also flexible and can rewire itself through neuroplasticity. You can redefine yourself and rewire your beliefs. How do we find a solution? How do we let go of those labels or identities that no longer fit or were never us? First, we want to identify them. We're going to do this by grabbing a piece of paper and writing down every label or identity you were given by others or even by yourself that is not true. I want you to be very honest, very introspective, very self aware examples of things that you may believe about yourself, but are not true. I'm not a creative person. I'm bad at relationships. I can't handle success. After you write those things down, ask yourself, where did this come from? Who told me this? And more importantly, is it actually true? I want you to be honest. Is it actually true? Because the moment you see it written down and you create distance between you and the label, you realize, no, it isn't you. It's just something you've been told. Once you identify the things that are not you, we challenge the label. Now ask yourself the following questions. Would I still believe this if no one had ever told it to me? What's one time in my life when this label wasn't true? Because once you find one example of you stepping outside the label, you break free from the illusion. You prove to yourself that you are more than the words that have been placed on you. And then you can rewrite the label. And this is where we take our power back. And I've done this. So let me tell you, it does work, but you have to go all in. You have to play 100%. Instead of saying, I am not creative, say, I am learning how to express myself in new ways. Instead of, for example, I am bad at relationships, say, I am learning how to build meaningful connections. Instead of saying, I always play it safe, say, I am stepping into courage because words shape reality. And the words you tell yourself determine your future. The next thing we can do is to take aligned action. Now that you've written down the label, it's time to prove it to yourself. If you were labeled not creative, do something creative today. Draw, brainstorm, try something new. If you were labeled as bad at relationships, start a new conversation with someone today. If you were labeled as not a leader, speak up in a meeting or take initiative. Basically, whatever applies to you specifically, the most important thing is action because action is what solidifies a new identity. The more you practice, the more you do it over and over again, you step into the true you and it becomes a new belief system. And here's the final thing you can do. Remember, you don't have to stay in the box that someone else put you in. You don't have to carry a label that no longer serves you. You get to decide who you are. So today, let go of one label that doesn't fit you. You made a list. Now, choose to let it go. Write down the label, write what it is, and tear it up, burn it, throw it away, whatever feels right to you. The most important thing is to take action and repeat to yourself over and over who you truly are. Because the more you repeat it, the more you take action, the more you start to live it, the more you start to believe it. That's how the brain works. That's how the mind works. Fully play out, fully believe that you are more than any identity, any label that was given to you that you know is false. But you must be willing to take the action and allow yourself to be who you truly are. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. Share with us one label or identity that you are letting go of. If you haven't subscribed yet, please remember to do so. This is our sacred space. If you have an idea for a topic that you would like me to talk about, drop it in the comments. I'll do my best to create an episode just for you. Until next time, make it a great day.